Many of you may have heard of ACCI Missions and Relief. You've either supporting them in some way or you've seen it come across it at conferences or somewhere. But we're going to hear more about ACCI Missions and Connecting Japan Mission in particular, which is one of their missionaries that they support. So I'm going to bring in Julie Egan, who is going to be interviewed today. And hi, Julie, how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm in the hot seat for once, and we're usually dealing it out to everybody else.
That's right. The table has turned.
I know. I'm very nervous. Kinshoshimasu, which is nervous in Japanese.
Oh, there you go. You must know a lot of Japan, working with Connecting Japan. How long have you been with, or how long ago did you set up Connecting Japan?
It's nearly 6 years old now. So we became accredited missionaries back in 2019. Now, we're not on the books at the moment, so hold your horses, everybody. And we had to reset everything because I'll get into the whys and the wherefores of how one becomes a missionary. You do need a supporting church in the country of your choice. So we are currently on the lookout for one in Japan currently at the moment.
Wow, that sounds good.
There you go, that's us.
So, yes, you can connect with Julie through her website, www.connectingjapanministries.com, and get in touch with her and find out ways you can support her. And it's yourself and your husband, Julie?
Yeah. Well, our journey starts a long way back before that, and Heather was in school at that time. And as anyone who is a missionary, and all my missionary friends would know this, it's very difficult to get children on the field unless they're young. Many countries don't have good tertiary education. That's why they bring their kids to Australia. Many wealthy families across the world bring their kids to Australia because we have very good tertiary education here. So that was always going to be an issue for us. So when COVID changed the narrative, at this stage it was, and Heather finished school. She's like jetting off to Japan now as we speak, and she's in early education. So we had an answer to prayer through the mission conference under its old banner, that our family would be in line, and here we are. Years later, they are all doing their own thing now, and but they are very supportive in various ways. I have 3 daughters, so 26, 24, and nearly 22. Yes, I don't look old enough to have 3 grown daughters, but here we are. Yes, in their ways, each and every one of them is supporting on a particular level. Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's great to have this family support and the family in the mission field.
Yeah. I'd say most of my missionary friends would agree that a lot of times, initially, a lot of families are either hostile or extremely resistant to having a family move overseas or be involved in missions. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about it, and one of the things Connecting Japan also does is a YouTube channel, and we talk about missions, the importance of missions, and where Japan fits into that narrative as well. Because we felt in the beginning that it was important for people to understand that missions is not always for countries that are third world, which is ones that don't have basic infrastructure and the things we take for granted, like a house, food on the table. Cars are big luxury, and just getting around in general. So poverty takes many shapes and forms, and spiritual and mental poverty are 2 of the biggest problems in Japan. I guess where Japan's sitting right now is what Australia could scarily look like very close to the future if we as Christians don't rise up and do something about that. So Japan has a suicide rate second only to Brazil, and it's down to the age of 10. So I don't want to make it all gloom and gloom, but they're the harsh realities of living in Japan, 1 in 3 elderly will die alone. And as you and I both have older parents, you
Mhm.
know, that is a unprecedented tragedy in any country
Mm.
you go to. So, but in a country that's third GDP in the world, yeah, you think, well, why would a country need missions? The thing is, but the bottom line is missions is something every country needs. But what it
Mm.
looks like will depend on their culture, how much of Christianity is allowed, not allowed in that country, and
Mm.
what their needs are. So missionaries basically just got to be a listening ear. They can't tell people what to do.
Yeah.
They just got to listen.
Mm. Yeah. And there are missionaries in Australia. I've met quite a few who've come over from UK or USA or the Philippines, which is, yeah, we need missionaries as much as any other country.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Until we
Yes.
get off our seats and get out there and
Yeah.
do what we're called to do.
Well, yeah, the
Which is,
reality is many cultures are coming here. We are a multi-ethnic nation now, and if we do want to go to any of those fields, all we have to do is just walk out there, and they're either here as English students or working visa, or they actually live here permanently, and you just go, well, what's it like in your country? What do you feel the needs are? And yeah, just sit back and listen, and you get a whole lot of information. And for us,
yeah.
in our season, yep, there's 20,000 Japanese living in Melbourne alone. So we have
Wow.
we have it on the doorstep. But yeah, ideally, would love to be on
Yeah.
the field alongside our fellow ACCI Micho friends that are currently serving. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And talking about ACCI, they had a conference recently, about a month ago, if I'm guessing right.
It's amazing to see how far they've come from the old days. I mean, I wasn't in the ACC movement back then, but I've talked to
Mhm.
some of the older missionaries like Ross Winchester and Raya and Bruce Nugent, and they'll tell you that that was very small, and yeah, it's come so far. And this year they had 350 delegates. It was sold out in advance. I'd like to say
Wow.
that we had a bit of play in that, because we have about at the time we probably had close to 1,600 followers on Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram's one of those
wow.
funny creatures that for some reason we had that many, and now we're down to 1491. Maybe, I don't know. Like us and
Yeah, yeah.
there's plug there. But yeah, we just said to everybody every week, because we try and do a live feed, small or large, every week, just encouraging
Mhm.
people. If you want to know about missions, you have a passion for missions, come along, check it out, ask the
Mm.
questions, talk to the people that are on the ground. You'll get the real story of what's going on
Wow.
in the world, more from a missionary than you will from the media, because, I mean, let's face it, how much of it's true?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And where was the conference this year?
It's almost, as far as I know, or except for the earlier days, it's held in Phuket, Thailand. I'm not
Okay. Mm.
sure. It's a first world problem to have a venue like the Novotel Phuket, which is Patong Beach, fill out. And I'm sure,
Mm.
a huge thanks to Vanessa Charles and the rest of the team, who had to pull some amazing logistics to fit 350 delegates in that space. And that's not including
Wow.
I don't know if that includes the band as well, because the band's from Faith Dandenong and they're phenomenal.
Wow.
They always do a good job. I've been to state, regional, national conferences, and I always get asked, "What is your favorite conference?" And without doubt, it has to be ACCI Mission Conference. Well, we call it that now
Wow.
because I'm not going to get in trouble for saying this, but we were told during the conference not to call it Pan Asia anymore, because we encompass the whole world. So anyone who said it during the conference had to pay 50 baht. And a couple of
Wow.
people, well, we've known it for that way for so long. And so a few people did get caught out. So, but
Wow.
yes, it has a very proud history, and it's not just about hearing what the missionaries have to say. It's hearing exactly all the things that ACCI Missions and Relief talks about. talks about the stuff on the ground in Australia, how and in across the world where there is relief and where we help out, where there are disasters.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
we have had some, like the earthquakes in Turkey, for instance. Um, and of course the Middle East situation as well, and the war in Ukraine, where
Mhm.
churches across Australia, and if your church was one of them, thank you so much. I mean, I don't really represent ACCI in the strictest sense of the word, but if they were here, they would give you their heartfelt thank you for supporting those people who are trying to flee conflict and try to keep their churches and their families safe and get food on the table. So they would
Yeah.
appreciate that a great deal. Let's pray this year that Australia stays out of the disaster zones this year. So no bushfires or
Yeah.
anything. I mean,
That
that's what relief is there for. But yeah, let's keep safe, guys. Keep safe, guys.
That's right. And if you want to know more about ACCI Missions and Relief, their website's shown down below, and
Mhm.
you can even jump on there and support them if
Yeah,
not doing it
yeah.
already.
There's a
And
lot of ways you can support them too. It's not necessarily monetarily. You got youths, young adults are just finishing school. They have an intern program.
oh
They were
wow.
talking about that. They had 3 interns. One of them was with my good friend Penny Nakanishi, who's in northern Japan, just
Oh,
hop, skip, and a jump away from Hokkaido. She's just at the top of the island of Honshu. She had an intern for a whole year, and she's going to do great things, Amy. So I know that she's got plans into the future, and you can. If you want to chat to Penny, you can chat to her about that. I'm visiting Penny next year, so I'm super excited. I mean, usually we only see each other at conferences, but I'm going to be seeing her on home ground, which will be good. And there were
yeah.
2 interns in Thailand. Yes, with the River Asia. So in different
Mhm.
capacities, that's in Chiang Mai, which is about 10 hours by car, train from Bangkok, or a couple of hours. And yeah, they all shared their experiences.
Mhm.
Missing people from home was obviously their biggest challenge, getting used
Yeah.
to a different culture that they've not heard of, and probably not
Mhm.
hearing a lot of English. So that would have been very difficult for all 3 of them. But yeah, they came back with new perspectives and a heartfelt appreciation for what missionaries go through on a day-to-day basis. It's not glamorous.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. No, that's good. And if you're interested in being a missionary, Julie, can you contact ACCI?
Yep, yep. We also have a YouTube video on how to go about that. Now, of course, some of the stuff that we share in that video has altered a little bit. Obviously, because I think when we first did it, I think we were. We've actually had an association with them back since 2017, and that year
Mhm.
they made a lot of changes in mission world. So they have a dedicated ACCI mission contacts in each and every state of Australia. And if you're not sure, check with your pastor, and then they can find that out for you. So you have a
Yeah.
dedicated mission representative, which is
Mhm.
one of the newer things they added in. So people when Chad and Alan and all them were in charge, there's new people now. John Hunt is the current president, so he doesn't have to travel
Okay.
nearly as
Yeah.
much. He has representatives in each and every state that do that for him.
Yeah.
So you obviously you can ask ACCI about that as well, or check with your senior pastor if he's a regional or a state president. You got an even better
Mhm.
chance of finding out who that person is. They probably know, and they
Yeah.
can have a chat to you about things as well. But if you want to get the ball rolling with getting missions, obviously having a heart for what breaks God's heart in the world is probably the number
Mhm.
one thing you need. And then have a good chat with your pastor, and of course, continually pray along the journey.
Yeah.
Praying about this is it's a very big calling, because in my mind, missionary means the same as an apostle, and that's a big ascension calling. And if you've got that on your heart, just be aware that it's not, it's gonna be a straight line journey. It's gonna be messy and crazy. And take it from somebody who knows. Yeah, it'll break your heart. I'm sure pastors would say the
Yeah.
same thing. The credentials are
Yeah.
very similar,
Yes.
actually. The process
Yeah.
getting through for a pastor is almost exactly the same as it would be for a missionary. They take this very seriously.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Back to the conference. I think the
Hmm.
theme was "Let Your Light Shine." What
Yes.
highlights did you get from it, Julie?
There was so many highlights of that. It was just I think the real theme of it is that we're coming now out of post COVID for a lot of countries, and it's more important that we what we were talking about before, that Christianity shines its light the brightest amongst the people who
Mhm.
need it the most. Um, and I know for a lot of us, coming out of COVID, we've all have a sense of fatigue, whether it's donor
Mhm.
fatigue. And I know a lot of people are hearing, oh, you get bombarded all the time with that now, and that's all to do with COVID. A lot of people are
Yeah.
still coming to terms with that. Um,
Yeah.
Missionaries are not exempt from that. We feel it too,
Yeah.
and the important thing is for us to continue to shine for the people that need it.
Yeah, that's good.
I know that for a lot of us, it was a time of great encouragement because, yes, the missionaries have done it tough. When I first started in coming along, they had over 200. At the moment, they have about 120. Yeah, I'd say COVID had a little bit
Oh,
to do with that, but
yeah.
a lot of them did what they were meant to do. They
Mhm.
got their projects to the point where the local people are now taking over. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, they would love more missionaries on the field. It was a conference of great encouragement and lifting, and people to keep staying the course.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it is a hard road. Um,
Mm.
I have the greatest and highest respect for each and every one of them, and I do talk to some of
Mhm.
the ladies quite regularly. We are a very tight knit bunch, actually. I'd like
Yeah.
to say that that's the fact. We all know each other fairly well.
Yeah.
ACCI Mission Conference has the what I believe is the best setup because we are all stuck together. Majority of us are at the Novotel Phuket or very close by or staying there.
Mhm.
The hotel does a fantastic job of providing for us. Yeah, we did take over the hotel in pretty much every way, and
Wow.
yeah,
Oh, that
yeah,
sounds good.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah,
it's
we can minister to each other.
yeah, wow. Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
good to have that support network when you're on the
yeah,
field because or yeah, yes. I would imagine it could be a bit of a lonely road at
yeah.
times. And
Yeah,
yeah,
they
getting
do
that way.
say when I did my degree, and for the listeners who don't know, I am Harvest Alpha Crucis. So I did half my degree with Harvest Bible College and the other half with Alpha Crucis because they both merged. And so I'm one of the few people that can call ourselves Harvest Crucis. It's a bit of an in joke with us.
Yeah.
On missions, 1 in 50 who apply. So 50 people who want to be missionaries. I'm not saying this to deter people. Only one make it.
Wow. Mm.
And there's a reasons for that. The first year is the toughest because you're away from all the supports and things and familiarities, things and then it's
Mhm.
obviously the other things like the application paperwork. Me and Karen
Mm.
are guns when it comes to administrations, and we're not scared of it. But a lot of people are not in our bracket and are
Yeah.
petrified by it, and I don't blame them. It can be
Mm.
completely overwhelming, and the fundraising side of things. We're going back to the whole donor fatigue thing, and there's a lot of reasons. But yeah, those that first year is hard because if you can get over
Yeah.
that and then
Yeah.
the momentum starts to happen because you've built your relationship with your target country. Japan's probably
Mhm.
one of the difficult ones at the world because it's non-confrontational. You can't use direct language with them, so building languages and building relationships in terms of ministry, as Karen will tell you as well, it can be hard in the beginning, But once you get over that
Mm.
first year, but that's the trick, getting over that first year. It can be quite stressful.
Yeah. That's great.
Mm.
Great encouragement, Julie. There's so much to learn from it at the conference.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had phenomenal speakers. We had Brad
Who were
Bonholm.
they?
Brad
Oh, yeah?
Bonholm was one of them. John
Yeah.
Hunt, of course. We had a lot of our missionaries. We had different panels. Obviously, we had the interns as part of our panel. We had those who have been on the field for a long time, like Ross Winchester, Bruce and Raya Nugent, who are in
Mhm.
Cambodia, and Eric and Mariana Class. So yeah, they've all been on the field for a very long time, and
Yeah.
I can only admire the fact that they've stayed the course for so long. They've seen so many changes to mission field, from the humble beginnings where anybody could go,
Yeah.
and yeah, there was danger and excitement in involved in it, to a totally different view. I mean, the name of the game's still the same, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
yeah, we had a lot of the state presidents there. So Matt Hines, go Victoria,
Yes.
he was there, and yeah,
Oh,
they all were very encouraging to us. For the entirety of the conference, I think there was.
that's
The evenings are always ministering to different people. Some of them are for people who want to be missionaries. Some of them are for people who have specific needs. I'll never forget my last night there. I'm sitting next to, and I know I won't say which country they're from Theta and Ben Prevost, who are good friends of mine. And I hadn't had much. I don't always get a chance to talk with all the different missionaries. You have your favorites, and they called the missionaries up. And because we're not accredited at this stage, I was just going to go, no, I'm going to sit here. I'll let you guys go up because, no matter what, I'm always cheering them on. And we always bring
Yeah.
food for a few of them as well that reach out to us. So we organise food for them. And Theta goes, come on, you're coming up too. And it was amazing. And Michael Murphy was there too. He was a very
Oh,
special
yes.
guest.
Yep. Yeah.
If you guys haven't heard his book, Accelerate, get it. I'm trying to get out of my work fatigue to read it, but it's a really great
Yeah.
book.
Oh,
Hopefully, maybe
cool.
one day we could interview him. I would love that. We're good
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
He even signed my book.
Oh, there you go.
There was I didn't have the anticipation of going over there to get anything out of it for myself. But yes, we were greatly ministered to as well. So we're still
Wow.
part of their family, and
Yeah.
it's thinking about it now. I think it was the best conference. We all agreed,
Yeah.
100%, that the mission conference was the best one. It spoke to our hearts about where we were, not being
Yeah.
weary, not giving up, um, always staying strong with God. Those were the main things. In light of the theme, carrying the light, and to still continue to keep that voice going. I
Wow.
think I had a sort of a prophetic dream before I left. I was like, God was talking to me about two key characters in the Bible, Timothy and Caleb. Now, I know at the moment a lot of people going, oh, we need to look after the youth and all that. And I think I totally think it's across different generations. So, to be honest, but he's just talking about Timothy. Yes, the youth are important. They're our future. But the Calebs who are 80 and still vigorous and strong and still have a lot to give. I think they should be celebrated as well, because you know what? If they can still keep going, so be it.
Yeah, so be it. So yeah, jump on to acci.org.au to find out more about ACCI Missions and Relief and what they do, not only in this nation, but every nation nearly around the world, and about their conferences, which will be coming up. The next one in August next year, I'm guessing.
Every 2
Thanks.
years now.
Every
The
2 years.
missionaries will be at national conference next year, so
Ah,
that
yes.
will
Yeah.
be late April. I'm not going this year. Usually, I would be. Oh, I usually have everything planned and be at national conference in the Gold Coast next year,
Yeah.
because it falls on my birthday.
Ah,
But I will be in Japan next year on the conference of
oh,
a
yeah.
different nature. So
Good.
yes, I will be sad not to be there, but yeah,
No.
yeah.
Well, jump
So
on board to acci.org.au now, and
mhm,
then you could be prepared for the conference in a couple of years.
yeah.
Thanks, Julie, for
All
chatting
right.
with me this morning. And yeah, have a great day. And we'll just pray for your ministry to keep moving forward, and that,
Yep.
yeah, the lethargy and all that will just
Yeah.
disappear, which is going
Yeah,
around.
we're actually collaborating with a church in Melbourne. We're ministering to Japanese there, teaching them English, teaching them the Word of God.
Oh,
So we're
good.
there every Sunday. So I go to church on a Saturday night now, which is different.
Oh,
And
good.
I'm going to be going with them to the conference next year as Japanese Christians go back to Japan. They face a lot of difficulties.
Yum.
The family think it's a
Yeah.
cult. They go,
Yeah.
oh no, what is that? And then they have to find a church. So JCFN
Mm.
actually does a sort of referral service similar to what we do here, and find them a
Mm.
church, helps them get pastoral care. And yeah, it'll be a great big celebration, and it's in the middle of
Wow.
Japan, one of Japan's biggest holidays, Golden Week. So
Wow. Wow.
I could be coming back very exhausted.
You would be. And we'll have to hear your report when you come back.
Oh, absolutely. And bless you too,
Absolutely.
Karen. We'll be praying for you guys over in Adelaide. Hope you get good weather. Go Carlton. I hope they win.
Thanks, Julie.
My
We'll chat
pleasure.
to you another time.
All right. Thank you so much, Karen. Bye.
Bye.